Hello everyone, let me just start off by saying thank you. Thank you for the interest in this game. I've been working really hard on it and it means a lot to me that you guys have shown your interest in it. Keep in mind this is an extremely early alpha build of the game. There's going to be some bugs, there's going to be some jank. A lot of the characters don't have the complete movesets yet, so there are some duplicate moves in there. Most of the bugs you see are going to be known. Some of them may even be intentionally left in because I kind of find them amusing. I'm sorry. We're going to try and keep the little primer on this game a little brief, just a brief rundown of the mechanics so that you guys can get on and play the game. So you have your basic controls, you have your jabs, your tilts, your smashes, your special moves. One thing that Earthromancer adds is the bullets. It's its own separate button. It's the bullet button. By default it's mapped to the Y button on GameCube controller, and I'll go over that in a bit. Earthromancer has a lot of nuances to kind of help make the game more accessible. For example, wave dashing is extremely lenient. You can buffer them as early as you want, you can do it completely horizontal. There's no air dodges, so you don't have to worry about getting accidental air dodges. No matter how late you land, you can always attack 13 frames after your jump squat, and I'm mostly explaining this because I think it adds a lot to the feel of the movement in the game when you know this. Like I said, there's no air dodges because they're replaced by a different mechanic. Everyone has their own unique air actions, like Keegan has these little downwell jet boots, and then Palant has his hover and his air dash. So basically if you're close to the ground or you're close to a platform, you'll get a wave dash, but if you press L or R when you're in the air, then you'll get the unique air actions. One little trick is that if you press L or R with the stick neutral, you'll also get the air action no matter what. A few other nuances of the game, when you're on the ledge, just press towards the stage and you'll get an automatic ledge dash. There's also these little guard dashes you can do when you're in shield by pressing left and right. They're invincible to melee attacks, but if a bullet catches you, then you'll be forced to block again. They also take guard meter, which I'll also explain here in a bit. You don't have to L cancel. Aerials just naturally have low landing lag. There is shield dropping in this game. You can do it manually, it's not that difficult, but you can also press Y or down on the C stick and you'll also shield drop automatically. One thing you'll notice is if you press Z during your initial dash, you'll get a little pivot. This is called a Z pivot, and if you just tap it, you can pivot it into anything you want. But if you hold it and continue holding a direction as you're holding it, you'll get a little command moonwalk. So you might be wondering, how do I grab out of a dash then? Well, you could jump cancel grab, or you could shield grab. There's all those things that are from normal Smash. But just like in Brawl, introduced in Brawl at least, you can dash attack grab, and you can also dash attack pivot grab. There's also a few other nice things from Brawl, like reverse aerial rush, where you turn around and then jump. You can also do smashes out of the turnaround animation. Alright, so in Earthromancer you can cancel your moves, so we're just going to quickly go over the order that you can chain them in. First you have your light moves, like dash attack, jab, and down tilt and forward tilt. These attacks can usually cancel into each other from any order. Next up you can cancel those into bullets. One interesting thing about bullets is that you can always jump cancel them, so that also means that you can wave dash out of them, you can jump cancel grab out of them. Next, after bullets, you can actually cancel into a few things. Of course, the most basic thing you can cancel into is a special attack. Or you can cancel into these new attacks, which are called arts. They're basically done by pressing the attack button and the bullet button at the same time, and every character has different arts, which I'll go over in a bit as well. Lastly, you can also cancel things into air actions and wave lands. One thing to note here is that all of these rules also apply in the air, though not every aerial is cancelable. Alright, let's move on. We're going to quickly explain the three attack types. First, you have your melee attacks. This is your standard attacks. They hit people all the time. And then you have your bullet attacks. Your bullet attacks can be avoided by grazing. So what's grazing? You can graze by dashing, you can graze by jumping, you can graze by fast falling, air actions graze, special moves graze, dash attacks graze. So basically if you just keep moving, bullets won't hit you. So now you might think, well that makes bullets useless because everyone's always moving. But you can still use bullets for combos, for pressure, you can still use them to trap people, you can use them for tech chases. They gain you a bit more meter, they do a bit more true damage, and they also do a lot more guard damage as well. One thing to note is that if you catch someone with a tech chase with a bullet, you won't hit them, they'll just be forced to guard. Lastly, you have hybrid attacks. Hybrid attacks work almost exactly like bullets with a few exceptions. Hybrid attacks count as melee attacks for recovering health, and hybrid attacks also count as melee attacks when you're tech chasing. These are things like Palant's Tipper and his extra range on his grab. They basically give him a little extra range when punishing and comboing, but they're not going to affect his neutral as much. Another thing about bullets as well as bullet arts is that they take a little bit of this meter at the bottom, and I'll explain that more as well. The green gauge at the bottom is a guard meter. It goes down when you block things, when you grab the ledge, and when you evade out a shield. I'm going to quickly explain what the 3 bars mean. After the first guard bar is down, you can no longer meteor cancel. Meteor cancel is just performed by mashing jump out of hitstone. After the second bar is gone, your ledge invincibility is halved, so you're much more predictable at the ledge. Finally, when the third meter is gone, you cannot evade, and you have to block high and low. Alright, there's so many more things I want to show you, but as I'm editing this, I'm seeing it's already reaching 6 minutes. We're just going to go over the red shift and blue shift mechanics real quick. So every character has 2 modes, and they're basically different characters. You also have access to a few different mechanics while you're in each mode. When you're in blue mode, you have access to EX moves, and you can press Z while you're shielding to parry things. EX moves only take 1 bar and they basically power up a move. You do EX moves by pressing attack and special at the same time. When you're in red shift mode, you get access to romance cancels. Press Z during any attack and you can cancel it with a romance cancel. This costs 2 bars and is really powerful for both combos and recovery. If you're just starting out with the game, it's honestly better to just stick to one mode so that you can really learn the character. Options are great though, so you can also choose to play a mix of both modes at the character select screen. You can change between the modes mid-match, and I'm going to tell you how. So say you have 1 blue bar and you want to do an EX move. You do the EX move, it takes 1 bar. Nothing happens after that. But let's say you don't have quite 1 blue bar, but you have some red bar to make up for it. In this scenario, if you EX move now, you'll shift to red mode. The same applies to red shift mode when switching back to blue shift. You can do a romance cancel when you don't have quite 2 bars, and you'll shift back to blue. One quirk that you can use to your advantage is that you can only shift when you go into idle. This means if you use a romance cancel in the air, or you do an EX move and continue comboing, that you won't shift until you go back to idle. Like I said though, you can also just play 1 mode. The benefit of just playing 1 mode is that you have more bullets to shoot, and you also build meter a bit faster. Alright guys, so while I could talk about the game forever, this video is already long and boring enough. If you want to know more about the game, or you have any questions, you can ping me on Discord. I also have an alpha test Discord server where you can ask questions and I post new builds quite frequently. So don't be afraid to message me and I'll leave links in the description below. Thanks again for your interest and I look forward to seeing you play the game.